Hello everyone, this is Harbs here, aka Predictions Too Good on Draftkings. I'm going to be doing a review of the past weekend, week 3 for NFL, how it went, some of the good plays I hit, some where I missed. We're going to start here with the $9 slant. There were 65,000 entries. First was 50,000. My best team ended up getting 12th. I had about 12 or 13 teams in here. My worst team ended up getting 38,000th. Looks like it was a river stack with kind of a mini game stack with Houston and Woods and Allen. Correlationary play in that game. My best team finishing 12th kind of had a lot of the best plays in the weekend. It was a Breeze, Kamara, Thomas stack, bring it back with Ridley. I thought it was pretty sharp fading Julio in tournaments given the ownership that was going to be there and that Lattimore was going to be on him, and that there was kind of reports coming out pregame that the Saints were obviously focused on him the most as far as their coverage was concerned. Ridley had the most upside. I did have some Mohamed Sanu as well, but Ridley has more upside than him, obviously shown by his 3-touchdown monster, 43.5-point game. Corey Clement, I thought was kind of like just a good salary relief spot. At 4,300, I was hoping he would catch more passes. Obviously, Wendell Smallwood came in and took the goal line touchdown away from him, which was kind of rough. At 33%, I don't think it was a bad play at all. 10.5, right around what you need to get you in cash games. Obviously, in tournaments, could have been better. Having the Breeze Kamara combo was pretty necessary. You could have had Matt Ryan as well, obviously. You had to have Ridley. Robert Woods is another player who I was on all week. Great to see him only at 11.1% ownership. 5,100, just absurdly cheap for him. I mean, if you've been watching the games, he's been getting some amazing targets by Goff that have just either he's been barely missing or the passes just barely missed him. And, I mean, he was really primed for one of these breakout performances. It might not have been this week. I mean, I'm probably going to keep being on this guy. He's underpriced the next week as well. Tougher matchup there, but I don't think it's in the main slate either. Anyway, then Will Fuller. When he's playing with Watson, I mean, it's just unbelievable the type of things these guys do. I mean, Watson didn't even look good. He was misfiring on passes, which he'll tend to do, not making the best decisions. But, I mean, still scored a touchdown again, over 100 receiving yards, only 5 catches, but I mean, he did the job, 24.1 points. I mean, that game, I was stacking up that game a lot as well. The Houston Giants game, running it back with Odell and a lot of teams. I had a decent amount of Evan Ingram. He got hurt, which was kind of rough. Oh, yeah, obviously I had Eric Ebron in there. I don't think there were any really strong tight end plays. There was like Kittle. I didn't like paying up, especially since Wentz was just coming back from injury. I mean, Ertz was a fine play if you got up to him, but I wasn't going to spend that with Wentz just coming back. And I've already had Clement, so, I mean, it's not negatively correlated, running back to tight end, really, but it's fine as long as the players are underpriced. I just didn't want to go that route. Then I went with Dolphins defense. I thought Derek Carr is a good quarterback to target for turnovers. They're obviously at home here. They have a solid defense. I knew Amari Cooper was going to get shadowed, so I did not expect Jordy Nelson to have the breakup performance he got, He didn't do much the rest of the game after the first half, though. So, yeah, similar team here, just Kareem Hunt in the flex, and then this team didn't even have Ridley. I think if Ridley didn't have the game he had, I mean, someone probably would have had to, but if Atlanta spread out the ball more, this team might have ended up winning because with no Ridley, it's pretty crazy to finish this high. Anyway, that's for the slant, it ended up with that win, 2,500. The guy who won this absolutely crushed. Powertron got first and second, and he had a bunch of other on ninth. I mean, this guy absolutely crushed it. Pretty similar team. He went with Ryan, Ridley, and then he had Rudolph, who was probably he got that garbage time touchdown right at the end of the Minnesota game when they were getting killed. That was a really weird game. He even managed to do this with Tevin Coleman, so obviously that's similar to my Clement play, except Clement was much cheaper. And the Cowboys defense, I mean, yeah, the real key for him was getting Boyd in here and Gurley as well. I should have considered that construction a bit more. I was more off Gurley and more on Woods throughout the week. But anyway, let's move on to next contest. It's going to be a tiers contest. I'm probably going to try to do one just regular GBP contest, one tiers contest, and then a cash game contest throughout the week for my videos. So I had 2 entries in this one. It was the Wildcat 333 entry, 10K to first. They actually overlaid, so only 89 spots filled out of 100. I really like the tiers contests. I think I have probably the biggest edge in them out of anything I play. You can't really super MME the Wildcat here was max 3 entries. I had 2. It's my best team, finished in 3rd. Almost got 2nd. Pretty brutal. I went with, in hindsight, I think going with Keenan Allen here might have been a bit too thin, especially at 19.1%. I was hoping he'd be more of a Thielen kind of percentage at 2.3%, which was a real differentiator in this contest. So I went with Breeze in Tier 1. I knew Mahomes was going to concentrate a lot of the ownership. I really wasn't on Mahomes this week. I mean, obviously I knew he could burn me with a big game. I mean, he did well. I was just hoping to target other spots and have it where other games shot out more than that one. I was hoping the 49ers would kind of just go away and the Chiefs would just run the clock out. Didn't exactly end up happening, but obviously the Falcons-Saints game was the game you really wanted. So I had Breeze finish as top QB, just barely beating out Ryan. Ryan was in Tier 2, though. Then I went with Watson in Tier 2. I thought he was the clear choice. If you weren't playing Julio in Tier 4, which I wasn't, I wanted to leverage that. I really should have considered going Ryan, I think, because there's obviously the correlation of the game, Saints and Falcons, the 2 QBs. I really wanted Watson. I really liked that game opportunity as the upside of his legs, of course. So I don't really regret it. I had Watson on both these teams. Kamara in Tier 3 was a no-brainer. Tier 3 was absolutely stacked. There was Kamara, Michael Thomas, DeAndre Hopkins, Todd Gurley. Who else? There's another really good play in there as well. It was just absolutely stacked. Kamara, I thought, just had the highest floor, maybe besides Gurley, and definitely the highest upside, I would say. I mean, I like this matchup way better against the Falcons. I figured it'd be chalk, but I was going to eat it. 53.9%, obviously. Very high, but you needed him. Thielen in Tier 4 was a real differentiator because Julio was in this tier, and I thought Julio was the clear, choice to go extremely high owned. What was he? He was 57.3%, which is massive. Thielen got really differentiated. The other choice was McCaffrey, who also got around 24 24.25. So if you took McCaffrey or Thielen, you're in good shape here. If you took Julio, it cost you about 10 points. But yeah, it was a good spot to gain leverage in the field there. Tier 5, I thought it was clearly Gronk with the highest expectation here going against the Lions in that Sunday night game. But I think I could try to get a little too cute here. I already had the Thielen leverage and the Breeze leverage over Mahomes. I went with Keenan Allen because he had the best matchup in the Chargers. I figured they'd be behind and have to throw it a lot. He'd be lining up in the slot about half the time, so not having to go outside and face Marcus Peters or keep the lead much would have been nice. It ended up they got injured, and I believe Mike Williams scored 2 touchdowns, which was a bit heartbreaking, and Keenan Allen only got 6.4, which was rough. Ended up costing me a second place. Tier 6, T.Y. Hilton. I thought he was in a really good spot this week. He was competing versus the likes of Ertz and Kelsey. Was Ertz in this tier? Maybe not Ertz, but Kelsey was in the tier where I thought was going to be the highest owned for sure. Yeah, he's only 22.5%, which is a bit surprising. Kareem Hunt was in the tier. Giovanni Bernard was as well. Yeah, and I thought Hilton had the most upside out of a lot of these guys. I mean, wide receiver ones were absolutely destroying the Eagles. If you look in the first 2 games, obviously small sample, but it was an okay play. I think it's kind of thin. I think the rain impacts him more than it would other players. Obviously, wind's the factor that you want to avoid in games, and it wasn't really windy. It was just having steady rain throughout the day, not too hard, but still going to be wet conditions. And he got the red zone targets that I was hoping he would get. But I'm already 10 minutes into this, so let me hurry up and finish if you're still watching. So, Will Fuller in Tier 7, I wanted the correlation with Watson, obviously. I think he was the clear best play. And then Keelan Cole in Tier 8. Tier 8 was kind of hard. You could have gotten Kenny Stills. You could have gotten some other guys, but I think Keelan Cole, once they announced Fournette was out, Bortles got such an uptick in the pass game that it's a lot better. So if there was a fight and finish, it's pretty top-heavy contest, sadly. 2,500, almost the swing there. Gronk out getting that extra, 3 points over Keenan Allen cost me. And then, just kind of brutal. And then first, obviously, he went with Mahomes, but he had Matt Ryan in Tier 2. Matt Ryan in Tier 2 without Julio in Tier 4 is pretty interesting. I thought it was not the best, but because there's such a high correlation between quarterbacks and wide receiver ones, especially between Matt Ryan and Julio. But yeah, it worked out for him. And on to my cash team. I played one cash team. It ended up with 195.9, which is obviously phenomenal. It's not always going to happen like that, but I thought Watson was going to be my cash lock. He has the legs upside. I thought Cam Newton was very close there too for $100 cheaper. He obviously scored 2 rushing touchdowns. Outscored Watson by a little bit, but I think I preferred Watson, better weapons, and I thought the game was going to shoot out a little bit, which it kind of did. Not really. 49, the total was 42.5, so it's not bad. Clement was a lock for me in cash. I know news is breaking late that they were going to use him in a committee and stuff, but just for that 4,300 price, I was using him basically no matter what, especially with thinking he's going to get passes, catches out of the backfield. Kamara, I wanted to use Kamara. It was kind of tough staying on him later in the week when all the news came out with Latavius Murray. Obviously, there's Giovanni Bernard there. Tevin Coleman's still there. But I thought Kamara had the highest floor for sure versus the Falcons defense that funnels targets to pass-catching running backs. 15 receptions, obviously pretty absurd. They just faced McCaffrey and allowed him, I think, 11 or so. But just ridiculous amount of floor and ceiling for Kamara there, obviously. He missed a touchdown later in the game by being down at the 1, and then Breeze jumped over the line and got it in. Breeze scored 2 rushing touchdowns, which was kind of ridiculous. You'll never see that again. But Tyler Boyd, lock for me in cash. Just the opportunity he was getting, the amount of air yards in the team after A.J. Green. He should have been higher than 30.8% in my opinion for 3,700. That's a ridiculously low price in a solid matchup. 28.7. It's really good. Will Fuller, paired him with Watson. I didn't want to go Hopkins. He was too expensive, and I thought Fuller was fine. I ended up getting 11 targets. He only caught 5 of them, but 11 targets is phenomenal. 9 the first week. That's the volume you're looking for, especially with Will Fuller's upside. It's just absurd. I went with Julio as a blocker play. I decided not to play any Julio in tournaments and to play him only in cash games. It worked out for the tournaments-wise. I played him in 1 tiers lineup, but for the Wildcat. So also was a blocker, but it definitely worked in cash. It's fine. 14.6 is his floor. Obviously, Ridley scored 3 touchdowns. Coleman scored 1. Sanu scored 1. They really don't like giving the ball to Julio for the end zone touchdowns, but I thought it was fine as a blocker play. Obviously, over half owned. He can really kill you if he has a 40-point game and you don't have him. Ebron, I thought was a lock with Doyle being out and his price being where it was, 3,400. Not much to say there. And then Robert Woods. I thought Woods was criminally underpriced. Not someone you really look at as a cash game play, but 9 targets, 11 targets. And he has absurd upside that can just put you above everyone for week 1 upside. So I just need 15 points from him, and then he has upside obviously for his 30-point games, so it's pretty great. And then I had room for the Jaguars defense against Blaine Gabbert, who ended up getting hurt, and Mariota came in. They only got 7 points, which was a bit absurd, to be honest. They lost the game. Very unexpected, the Jaguars and the Vikings defense, both the 2 highest priced defenses. Both teams lost, and neither did really well. But yeah, that was kind of how the weekend went. Shout out to Joe Holka on Twitter. I'll try to put his @ on the screen. He's the one who inspired me to do these contests. I'll link his YouTube in the description down below too. Check out how he does these reviews. He plays the mid and high stakes GPPs on Draftkings, so I thought those are pretty interesting and good to watch to kind of see how the top level players are doing things. But yeah, solid week so far. Hopefully next week goes this well. And thank you guys for watching.